quick update on that story from last week with Jeep, and we'll do this real quick because I want to get into the gas prices. But Jeep, if you're just tuning in, you missed the story last week. Jeep issued a software update, an over-the-air update that caused a widespread failure in their Jeep 4xe hybrid Wranglers, specifically the hybrid ones. And this is yes, it's an isolated problem, but I think it is evidence of a bigger problem in the automotive industry. And it has now become, though, in this case, the update is it is now officially a recall. It's been filed with NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Side note, they're very adamant about calling themselves NHTSA, but when you look at that acronym, NHTSA, that's not how acronyms work. But anyway, I digress. Having said that, the documents filed say that the update resulted in, quote, incomplete communication between the telematics box, TBM, and the hybrid control processor, HCP. The faulty communication causes the HCP to reset, which then knocks out the drive power, whether the car is already driving or not. You can see how that could be fairly dangerous if that happens while you're driving, for example. And again, yes, it's an isolated issue with a specific single Jeep model, right? But it's a bigger problem. Evidenced by this, too. This also just came up. Hat tip Andrew Collins at The Drive. Audi infotainment screens were bricked for months by a bad Sirius XM update. Yeah, same thing happened. In this case, not a drivetrain-related thing, so severity-wise, a little bit lower on that scale. But the problem being is it's over-the-air updates. I mentioned this last week. I said this is the problem. The common denominator here is over-the-air software updates. And, sometimes you get to accept the update and click, okay, yep, I want to take that update. Other times, you don't even get a say in it. Sometimes you don't even know, oh, my car doesn't over-the-air update. Really? It probably does. You just don't know it. Unless you've got, an old clunker or something. Like I have a few of. Those aren't going to over-the-air update. That's a solution, by the way. Just buy old cars. But I think it's a major problem in the industry. I think it's only going to get worse. Also, can I throw this out there? What if there was a cyber attack? What if hypothetically an adversary of the United States, pick your favorite, whichever one, and what if they had some sort of cyber attack that infiltrated the systems at, Jeep, for example, and pushed a software update that deliberately bricked the vehicles. The fact that you can even get over-the-air software updates means that your vehicle is vulnerable to either bad updates like this or outright cyber attacks. Now, we haven't seen a cyber attack cause something like this yet, but there's no reason it couldn't happen. Tell me one technical reason why you can have an over-the-air software update and somehow be impervious from a cyber attack using that same system. Yeah, it can be encrypted, it can be secured, all of that. A determined hacker, if there's a will, there's a way. Just like car thieves. You can have all the locks on your car, you can have the steering wheel club, you can have all of this stuff. You can have all of that. And a thief is still going to do something to get that car. He's either going to cut those locks off or, heck, he's going to roll up in a tow truck and just drag it away if he's determined enough. So that's why I think over-the-air software updates are a huge problem. Not just, and I thought about this after last week's show, after I made that point that, manufacturers sell you these incomplete vehicles and then, missing features even in some cases, and then say, yeah, we'll give it to you in an update later. Or they don't even say that up front. You just find out, and then you go, hey, what the heck? My diff lockers don't work. Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, we forgot to tell you those don't work yet. We'll send a patch sometime. When? I don't know. I paid for the functionality of that, and I don't have it, right? So that is why I am very anti over-the-air software update. Now, there's going to be critics. There's going to be people who jump into the comments on YouTube, which I encourage you to do. If you're watching this online, jump into the comments on YouTube. There's going to be people who say, yeah, but you can get all sorts of cool features that you weren't expecting, like Tesla adds this and that, and through an over-the-air software update, it gets a self-driving mode now, and you didn't have to change anything. Yeah, that's kind of how they rope you in, isn't it? It really is. Because they want you to think, oh, I can maybe get these cool upgrades over time. And maybe there's a convenience factor. Maybe there's a novelty to that. I won't deny that there's not a novelty to that. But is it worth the cost? Is that novelty of like, ooh, cool, I got an update. My car's got it makes a new, if it's a Tesla, I don't know, they added new fart sounds to the system, which it's already a thing that it does. So maybe I don't know. My point being is that novelty worth the security risk? Is it worth the long-term usability risk? Is it worth the bad potential for software updates to go awry? Is it worth hackers getting into the car? Is it worth a rogue government, for example? Let's get on that slippery slope. Let's slide all the way down that slippery slope. Is it worth a rogue government, for example, who maybe differs with your political views, saying that, yeah, we don't like these guys. Let's turn their cars off. And we can do that because it has over-the-air updates. And maybe not just updates. Maybe it has over-the-air control. Maybe they can, who knows? That's a real slippery slope. Very slippery. But you can see a world where that would possibly be the case. Actually, in fact, that did even happen. Sort of. A good example of this was when the war in Ukraine kicked off. There were people calling for Tesla to shut off remotely, which they have the ability to do, apparently, to shut off Teslas in Russia as a retaliatory thing. Now, I think we can all agree that the war in Ukraine is objectionable, right? But when you open that can of worms and start turning off Teslas of civilians in another country who are not combatants in that war, you may even feel justified in doing it, right? And maybe we would all feel justified in it. But the problem becomes, well, what if the tides are turned? What if the person who doesn't? What if you have that maybe an unpopular a political opinion? I'm not equating a war with a political opinion, but my point being is that once you go down that rabbit hole, now Elon at the time had said, no, we're not going to do that. But the fact that they could, if they wanted to, is still a problem. And it was a good call on him for saying, no, we're not going to remotely shut down people's Teslas. And presumably, he was thinking of the same ramifications. Well, if you do that here, then what's to stop another government from asking you to do it over here to these people and to these people? And it just becomes... It's a moral dilemma that you don't want to find yourself in. So to Tesla's credit, I think they made the right call in that case. Even though I think, again, we all find that war incredibly objectionable. Again, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying that once you get into that realm, you then open yourself up to this moral dilemma. But the fact that these cars already are technically capable of this is problematic on its face already. It just hasn't happened yet. We haven't had a cyber attack where it's happened that way. And who knows? Who knows? Do we want to find out? Do you really want to find out? Or would you rather drive around in a 10, 15-year-old car that, well, it might not have all the features and it might have a locked down ECU, but it's not getting software updates, and it sure as heck isn't getting bad ones, and it's not getting hacked by whoever, right? You can still use it as a car. Someone's going to comment, oh, what about an EMP? Okay, all right. Yeah, we're going too far down that slippery slope right now, but just think about that. So, hey, we'll get to the gas prices and why we're seeing a new low in those gas prices. Also, I got a few other fun things to get to. My Subaru, my brand new 2024, it's broken. How did I break it? How badly is it broken? We'll get to all of that and more. You're listening to the Automotive ADHD Show. Don't go anywhere.